And the sun slowly went to bed. The Ezoba warriors awaiting the princess by the border realized that something was definitely wrong. The princess was not meant to stay so long at the Ezedibia palace. It was meant to be a sneak in, sneak out movement, and they hoped to return just in time before anyone in Ezoba realizes their absence.
They quickly sent Omaliko, the fastest runner among them, to race back to Ezoba and alert other warriors while they go back to Ezedibia in search of Olaedo.
Meanwhile, before Olaedo left Ezoba for Ezedibia,
Olaedo's husband Achulike, the Ezoba warlord, had accompanied the king, her father, on a 2-day journey to the faraway mountains of Umidike, where they consulted the mountain god of war.
the Umudike oracle warned him to brace up for unavoidable calamities, but then assured him of victory over Ezedibia in the coming war. The king consulted 3 different mountain oracles, and they all said the same thing. Neither the king nor the warlord knew what the calamity would be, but they hoped for the best while bracing up for the very worst.
Meanwhile, Olaedo's guards once again ran into the Ezedibia patrol guards while on their way to the palace in search of their princess.
The Ezedibia guards informed them that Princess Olaedo had ordered them back, insisting she'd rather walk home alone. This didn't go down well with Ezoba warriors, who expressed dissatisfaction with the development. A brief moment of altercation ensued. Both factions aligned to a search party and then dispersed in 2 groups, each going separate ways in search of the missing princess.
While ransacking the nearby bushes and forest parts, a palm wine tapper informed the search parties that he sighted Olaedo several hours ago while tapping a palm tree along the Okitankwo River.
Following this revelation, the guards hurried to the river road.
Back at the Ezoba palace, the king and his entourage arrived from the long journey and was received by everyone notable except the princess. Achulike sent his personal maid to go check on his wife. But the maid returned to her master with the news of Olaedo's disappearance.
Achulike quickly moved to inform the king.
Just as Achulike conveyed the message to the king, Omaliko arrived at the door, panting like fish out of water.
Achulike realized that something bad has happened. Omaliko would only run that way in times of great calamity. Omaliko informed the anxious king that Princess Olaedo may have been harmed while on her way back from Ezedibia. Achulike marched his army against Ezedibia. He must retrieve his wife, dead or alive. The angry Ezeoba warriors charged at Ezedibia with fire and fury, crushing everything on their path. Meanwhile, the Ezedibia search parties continue their quest in search of the missing princess, determined and dauntless. Back at Ezedibia Kingdom, the news of Olaedo's disappearance spread like wildfire. The king of Ezedibia dispatched more search parties, but they all returned empty-handed. The die is cast. Daylight has turned to darkness.
Fear and despair hung on trees and rooftops like a keg of gunpowder waiting to explode. A young Ezedibia scout ran to the king and broke the news of an advancing enemy troops from Ezeoba. The news shattered the peace-loving king. He quickly ordered his warriors to mount a barricade at the narrow western entrance. He hoped they would buy enough time before his search parties returned with the princess.
The search parties eventually arrived at the Okitankwo River, but found a devastating scenario. The ground was littered with broken coral beads, shards of royal apparels, and the lifeless bodies of two unidentified maidens. Princess Olaedo was still nowhere to be found.
Why are you doing this?
Weakness disgusts me.
This story has just begun. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you next week for the next episode.